Welcome to the show, Robert Turbin, former Seattle Seahawks player. We're both Seahawks fans, and currently you're down in the bubble, FCF for the Beasts. Sorry about the game last week, man.
It happens, man. That's football.
Yeah.
You win, but you live to fight another day.
You came in, scored right away. That had to feel good. How was that first drive going down in?
Oh man, it felt good. Keep in mind that was my first carry since 2018. And I hadn't had much practice time here. I was quarantining when I got here for 7 days, and we practiced on Thursday, helmets only, no pads, and practice here is pretty. It's definitely not like an NFL practice. I think I had maybe like 3 or 4 total full speed reps, and they were all like 1-on-1, running routes against linebackers, So it's not like, I had any practice contact, and I'm a big practice guy. I'm a big like preparation,
You're not like Allen Iverson with practice. You're the opposite of Allen Iverson.
Yeah, exactly. So to get in there and bang a little bit, but get in the end zone on that first play was a pretty special moment.
Talk about that face mask issue that happened. It seems like things were getting a little chippy there.
When my helmet came off?
Yeah, when the guy ripped your helmet off.
I guess they felt like that was the only way they could take me down. I mean, I don't know. Look, I don't know if you guys can see, like, they cut my eye right here when they did that shit. Can you see that?
Wow.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, we can.
Kind of look like the Wolverine a little bit, man. I'm like, damn, what's wrong with you guys?
Because even on the first TD in, I mean, you carried like three of the guys into the end zone with you. I mean, do you feel like were they ready for that level of physicality? I mean, coming from the NFL in, they've been playing against each other, fan controlled players, for the last couple weeks. How do you feel like coming in, you obviously have been used to heavier hits, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the other guys expected. I know I have obviously pretty good size on me, so most of the fellas felt like that. Maybe I'd be pretty physical. I think the thing that shocked them the most was my agility and elusiveness. If you watch that toss play, made a couple guys miss, and that's just a part of playing the running back position. But I certainly wanted to let my presence be known and kind of let these guys know, who I am. Even though that second toss play, like just kind of reading it, there was probably an opportunity to cut back again. But I had kind of predetermined that I was going to go around the edge and lower my shoulder and put my face mask into somebody and just kind of let my presence be known. Sometimes as a runner, that's what it's about. Like there are times where you can make a guy miss, but you won't, just because you want to let him know, like, hey, it's going to be a long day today, fucking with me. So that's just part of the game.
Do you think that there was maybe a target, like with you and Josh Gordon's there? Do you think there's there's a target on you both specifically because you come from the NFL? Oh yeah. I mean, these guys here are competitive, man, and you'd be surprised at how hard they work. I mean, you got a couple guys who are just kind of like, here, they don't really get it. But there's some guys here, man, real effort, training in the off season. Some of these guys are out of college and didn't get opportunities last year because of the roster cuts made by the NFL and NFL scouts not being able to, go and watch, everybody as it pertains to like their pro days and stuff like that. So these guys are young and they're hungry and they're, searching for opportunities similar to me, as a veteran guy who wants to, show the league that, he can still play and want an opportunity to get back. And so, we're equally hungry, but, being in the NFL and playing in the NFL, myself and Josh and even Johnny, a little bit of a target on our backs. They want to see how they, how they line up against, some guys who've been there.
I'm curious how all this went down with you and Marshawn and the Beast. I know Bob Menery, had Manziel from the get-go, and then he brought in, Josh Gordon. And then it seemed like Marshawn was finally like, well, if they can do that, I'm going to, tit for tat. Or how did that all go down?
So I got a call from my manager, Matt Rogers, who used to represent Russell Wilson for the first 7 years of his career. We've been working together over the last couple years. And he called me and says, hey, you should get in this fan control football league. You know, have you heard of it? Have you seen anything? I said, yeah, man, I saw a couple highlights, but I don't know too much about it. He's like, look, you know, I think this will be a nice, gateway and setup for you to get back into the league. Let's make this happen. So, knowing that Marshawn was one of the owners of one of the teams, and I have a good relationship with Renee Montgomery as well, who's the owner of the same team. But I'm close with Marshawn. I hit him up and I said, hey, what's good? You know, how would you feel about me playing for your team? And he's like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, how would you feel about me playing for your team? He's like, man, don't play with me, Turbo. I'll fuck around and have you on a flight in 24 hours. Those are literally his words. He's like, I'll fuck around and have you on a flight in 24 hours. And literally, I was on a flight in 24 hours. Yeah, because the sooner the better. I had to quarantine for 7 days, so the sooner the better. So, yeah, we talked on like a Monday night, and I got here early Wednesday morning, and there it was, you know.
That is one thing that interests me. You know, we've obviously covered the whole league, you know, leading up and then through. And, you know, if there's, you know, season 2, you know, they've talked about not having to deal with that bubble situation potentially and being able just to fly in more players. I do think is a very exciting possibility where, you know, like you come in, it's like, okay, he can't do the practice. We got to wait the 7 days, you know, when Manziel left and then came back in. I mean, there's just been a lot of dealing with all those protocols where I do think it'll be very exciting when they could just, you know, like you said, Marshawn could just get you on a plane and then come in and, you know, potentially be on a, you know, professional football field. That weekend is a pretty incredible thing nowadays. Right.
And you know what? I've been really impressed with how everything's been ran here. The professionalism of it, the organization, and they talked about how they had some rough spots, you know, in the beginning, and some things were, you know, some mistakes were made and stuff like that. But by now, by the time when I got here, it seemed like, man, they had a really good rhythm going. It was smooth. And the fact that they're able to even put this bubble together and have food consistently and laundry, just the small things, laundry and stuff like that, and the housekeeping aspect of it. And, you know, you can order food and all that kind of stuff. And the weight room is set up and the equipment, and they have a media area, you know, for their show and commentary and et cetera. When I was quarantining, I'm telling you, every day, same time in the morning, breakfast at the door, lunch at the door, dinner, you know, at the door. You know, I came into the room, I got a full case of water and a big old box of granola bars and a bunch of fruit, you know, just for me, you know, while I'm in here quarantining. And that is, you know, it just shows how well this thing has been run and how well they're taking care of us and the rest, you know, all the players here and the people who are working here as well. So it's a pretty good, it's been run pretty good.
It seems like, you know, they might have saw what happened. I don't know if you're familiar with it, what happened with the spring league down in San Antonio, where it was described, the food they were getting was described as like the Fire Fest of football food. And so the players were going out, hitting the Riverwalk, hitting Whataburger because they weren't getting adequate food. Seems like they've learned their lesson. Do you think that's showing that they care about the players?
Well, here's the thing, you know, keep in mind that this league took 7 years to develop and put together, you know, so even though they still made some mistakes early on, I mean, I'm sure they've thought about all the scenarios. I'm sure they've looked at other leagues and where they succeeded and where they failed, how they could do things differently so they don't make those same mistakes. And so, you know, big shout out to Ray, Austin, and everybody else who's involved, man, for really, you know, taking the time and you know, really being hands-on and putting this thing together the right way.
So even though you guys didn't win last night, they're calling it like a compensatory game or whatever next week. So are you going to be involved in all that next weekend with the Beast against?
Yeah, I'll play. I'm here. I'm here for you know, one mission really, and I mean, and it's more than that because there's opportunities, you know, to expand your brand and do some things off the field. That's really what this league is about, is really giving the players an opportunity to, hey, if you have a clothing line, if you got this, if you got that, man, this is an opportunity for you to advertise that and you know, grow your brand, perhaps, you know, using the FCF, but at the end of the day, I'm here to play football, man, and get some film out there and hopefully that can lead to an opportunity for me to get back into the NFL.
There have been some various rule changes from game to game that we've been critical about from time to time. How as a player do you handle those rule changes when you see them happen, game to game sometimes?
Yeah. I got to be honest. I've been here for such a short time. I've only played in one game. So we had a situation yesterday where it was a power play. We're down in our own end zone area. And it was like, it's 1st and 10. You got to get a first down to recover the onside kick. It's like an onside kick. Right. But the defense is not allowed to blitz on a power play. But they blitzed their linebacker and we weren't able to execute, and everybody's dropping F-bombs and shit and, cussing the refs out, and everybody's pissed off. And I'm just kind of sitting there like, well, what happened? What's going on? They're not supposed to blitz on a power play, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so, yeah, everybody keeps, I'm like, man, I'm asking about the rules every other play. And they're like, man, they change every week. We're trying to keep up with it. So I think that's one of the things as the league probably, could be done better, could improve on is getting the rule book together and sticking to those rules. But it is the first season. If there is a time to play with the rules and change them from game to game, it's this one. And I'm sure when the second season comes around, it'll be much more solidified.
Coming from, obviously you in the NFL and other players that have played, there's XFL guys in the league and stuff too. When you see a little bit of that not mismanagement, but whatever with the rules and all that, you just kind of shrug it off and go, I'm just here to play football. I mean, you're just kind of, you're over that and you just say, well, I'm just here to do my job and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. For me personally, yeah. Some guys, get pretty intense, for me, I understand, these guys are trying to put together a league, a business, that's not easy to do. And, some of the things that come with that is trial and error. And so I understand it. I understand it totally. So it doesn't bother me at all.
I had a question about where, the Zappers had obviously brought in Josh Gordon and Mansell, and then, you with the Beast. The two teams that are playing in the championship game have not had any of those advantages, right, that you could deem to do that. And I think it's cool. We're advocates for the players. I'm advocates for any players getting more tape, but it did speak to me that, you had Bob Menery and all the powers of anyone bringing in all this stuff. And yet a team of YouTubers that own the Wild Aces, they're in the championship game. I mean, thoughts on that and just kind of how all that worked out with the championship game?
Yeah, the roster is that's another part that's confusing too. Aside from the rule changes is the roster, the way the roster fluctuates week to week. Like, there were some players on our team who literally the day before the game, all of a sudden we're on the Wild Aces or we're on another team. They weren't playing for the Beast anymore. Everybody's looking around like, what happened? We need these guys. These are good guys. There's some good players up here, who can play, and so when you take away like some of the good players and just all of a sudden put them on another team, that's gonna be tough, and I think you got a chance to see, like, even in this league, it's funny how the game is kind of won and lost in the trenches still, It's just like, we played the game that we played. What happened? They were able to get a bunch of pressure on us, right? And we weren't able to do that on the other side. They were able to get stops on defense, and we weren't able to do that, on the other side, man. And so, yeah, the Beast and the Zappers, got the advantage of a couple of NFL guys, but the other teams were able to put together, I think, a better overall roster as it pertains to players at other positions.
About that, there were times when every week they did a player draft. Do you think like players switching teams like that every week seemingly might have upset some team chemistry? Yeah,
you can't develop any team chemistry if you're playing for a brand new team every week. I thought it was really weird. I told the guys, I said, look, the 2 games that I'm here for, I just want to play for the Beast, and that's it. I don't want to switch jerseys and switch teams and stuff like that. I don't understand the concept of it necessarily. I think perhaps the fans should be able to have, one big draft in the beginning of the season and shit, man, let them like make some other types of transactions like trades or releases. You know what? I don't want this guy anymore. Let's cut him, fuck it. And then he can go to another team that way, but it is the first season, like I said, but I think every week having guys change teams, probably not the best way to do it, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's feelings we've had too. I wanted to ask about just the talent level that you've seen. Obviously, the brief time, the week there. Quentin Flowers, right? Your guys' quarterback. We've covered them all through the XFL and everything else. I mean, what do you think about the talent level of the other guys that you're working with out there?
Yeah, I've been impressed. I've been impressed by their work ethic. There's a lot of talented players here, and the cool thing is that they want to learn. I've been able to develop some cool relationships already and talk to some guys, and they come up to me and ask questions, and I ask them questions too, and they want to know how to get better. How can they improve? What kind of things that they can work on to be able to get an opportunity to play in the pros and stuff like that, man. So some good talent level up here. I think you'll see a good number of guys get a shot at the league this upcoming season.
Very cool. Speaking of the league, you mentioned Russell Wilson. I have to ask you, what do you think is going to happen, man? Do you think he's staying in Seattle, or do you think he might be on the move?
I think that it's tough. I think at this particular moment in time, right now, today, I think it's a real 50-50 shot right now. I didn't feel that way a couple weeks ago. I was pretty sold on him staying in Seattle. And, I have to be honest, I'm not as confident.
Do you have a relationship with Russell at all?
Yeah. I just talked to him a couple days ago. I was the best man in his wedding. Him and I are really close. I'll die for Russell.
Wow.
I'll take a bullet for him. And so we were roommates for 4 years. We're really close. I don't really advertise it. I don't normally tell people because I don't care to. Right. He's really my friend, so when somebody's really your friend, you're not concerned about the clout that comes with letting people know, like, Russell's my boy, and we kick it in the off season, and we FaceTime at least once a month, and text message, every other week and shit like that. That don't get me like what. That doesn't bring me any sort of satisfaction at all. That's my boy for real. Like, I don't care, and it's vice versa on the other side. But that situation's been crazy. I think that it's 50-50 right now. And I also think that this season, particularly this season, I think he'll be in Seattle. But I think next season he won't.
Interesting stuff. Another question I had about former players you played with. I know you went to Utah State. I actually went to Southern Utah. And I know you were probably there with Bobby Wagner at the time. Does Bobby Wagner still have the Ninja Turtle collection?
Always. Always, man. Always.
A Madden 99 player with a Ninja Turtle collection. It's crazy.
Man, it's like an alter ego when he gets up there on the field, man. He just turns into fucking I don't know, Leonardo.
Shredder?
Yeah, one of those guys. And just balls.
Yeah. Bobby's good. Bobby's a special guy. So, Robert Turbin, we'd love to have you on. Thanks for coming on, man, and chatting with us about fan control football and some former Seahawks memories. We appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for making the time. It means a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Stay safe, man.
We'll be watching it this weekend. We'll be cheering for you guys.
All right, my man.
Cool. Thanks.
Peace.